Welcome to the live. Okay, cool. We got that going and we got this going, I'm sure. Welcome to the live, guys. Welcome back to another motherfucking video with Mystar. And your star is here to witness my star in this video today. So, hope you guys are having a great time wherever you are in the world. And if you aren't, then make it great. Because otherwise, nobody's going to make it great for you, love. So don't wait around for freaking somebody to save ya. So, pre-warning for this video today, guys. I want to give a pre-warning to other people who may be watching this video right now to not get triggered. Well, no. Actually, no. You're going to get triggered, is what I'm saying. Pre-warning. You are going to get triggered during this video. It is highly likely and highly advised if you do not want to get triggered, then I would advise you to step off this video right now. Take the self-care, take the moment to take care of yourself, because a lot of people ain't ready for my opinions. And if the people that are ready for my opinions are willing to sit here and watch, that's great, Welcome to the next level of the human race. A lot of people are still stuck in the old ways. They don't want to evolve. They don't want to grow. They just want to stay stagnant. And that's also partly related to the topic of this video today. So, when it comes to lessons in law, we're talking about what have I learned in the past few days. These lessons in law today is going to be about relatability and all forms of relatability, because number 2 is the number of relatability in numerology. It talks about connection, the feminine energy, okay, going within, connecting to your inner self. That is all number 2 energy, right? And if you're thinking to yourself, well, how does that even equal femininity, right? First, you have an idea, you think about something, right? You have an idea in your mind. Okay, that's 1. Then we have the second, number 2. That is you relating to that idea, right? You're adding onto that idea now. You've already added onto the 1, and now you're relating to whatever you just initiated, which was the 1, the idea, the masculine, the externalizing, right? So the 2 is you internalizing, going in within on that energy. So when it talks about numerology, these are actually things that we're observing in life. A lot of people get mixed up and stuffed in their mind, and they think that spirituality is something to do with something that has nothing to do with life, or that doesn't occur in life. Spirituality and spiritual stuff, which is really just reality and common sense. If you're into spirituality, you already know this. I don't even need to say it. But for the people who is heavily indoctrinated and they don't realize that spirituality is actually common sense. The things in spirituality is from real life. We observe real life. And if you think it's anything different, you're lost into some kind of movie. You've been watching too much Harry Potter. You've been listening to too many freaking people who don't know anything about spirituality in the first place. So, now that we've got that out of the way, let's get straight into more in-depth on the topic, right? So, when it comes to relatability, so there's all forms of relatability in the world. You can relate to yourself, you can relate to others, you can relate to an object, you can relate to a person, a place, a thing, anything. So those are all different forms of relatability, right? What I've been learning about relatability is who you relate to will alter and change and start to craft your experiences. And so if you don't want to experience certain things, certain cases, you have to stop relating to those people who constantly go through those experiences. But that's another tie and another way of relatability, where a lot of people do not even want to give up the things that they relate to for the sake of comfort, for the sake of being able to have a sense of something to fall back on. Because if I don't relate to this person, then what would my life be like? Oh, it might be a little bit more difficult. It might be a little bit more strenuous on me, like mentally. Whatever the case may be, it's all an excuse for you to be able to stay relating to this person that you know is toxic for you. So people don't want to accept that. People don't want to get past that. People don't want to take themselves to the next level, and that's fine. Your life, you do what you want to do. But for me personally, I've always been about growth. I've always been about change, and it took me a long time to click on to this as well. I wondered my whole life about why do certain people still suffer and go through the pain of having to be with certain people, even though they know that they're actually bad and toxic for them. And why do people still suffer and go through the same circumstance, even though they know that circumstance is bad for them? Like, so many different ways that I can look at it, and so many different angles that I can look at it from. But, after going through so many experiences and learning so many things in life, you start to come to the conclusion that people just do it to themselves. And as much as people want to deny that because they're stuck in their ego, they're like, no, I don't do this to myself, I'm worried. No, people just be doing this shit to themselves. And a lot of the time, the reason why someone will stay in a relationship that's bad for them is because deep down, they're actually using that relationship for their own benefit and their own gain, whatever it may be. They're actually getting something out of that relationship or that connection that they don't feel like they can get from anywhere else in the world. So when it comes to these different ways of thinking and being, they're falling victim to that constantly because that is what they want to fall victim to. Because if they were to fall victim to anything else or anyone else, they know that their shit wouldn't be tolerated. If they were to get into a relationship with someone genuine and real, that doesn't abuse them, that doesn't treat them like shit, that doesn't lie to them, then they wouldn't get the things that they feel like that they need from the relationship that they're currently in. So it's all like a kind of like sick, twisted thing that a lot of people are lost into in the world, and they won't actually acknowledge it or say it to you. But I see what's true, and I know, because I know myself. And if you know yourself, then you know that you can pretty accurately know everybody else, because you're still a human in a body. You've still got a mind just like me. So what makes you think that you're any special or any different, that your thoughts are any different? No. And if you don't think so, and you genuinely see yourself as, no, I'm not doing this for my own benefit, then I'm here to tell you, you ain't done that much shadow work and you're not very aware of yourself. So this is why I said at the start of the video, leave this video if you're going to get triggered, or if you think that you're easily a triggered kind of person, because a lot of these stuff is like real harsh truth type shit. That's what I noticed a lot of my stuff in online is, it's really harsh truth, kind of harsh look at yourself, harsh look at your own reality type of mentality. So a lot of people can't handle that. A lot of people ain't ready for that. And that's okay. You do you, but don't pretend like you can handle it. And also, like, as well, like, if anyone's on my socials and, you don't like what I say, you don't like what I post in my videos, like, I advise you, just remove me as quick as you can, because it's going to get worse for you. You're not going to like it even more and more the more I go into it. Because at the base of it, you're probably just a hater. But if you're not a hater, then you're just not aware in some way, shape, or form. Because I see things from an equilibrium perspective. I always see things from a neutral perspective. So when I'm coming to these videos, I'm looking at everything from an unbiased. And I'm not looking at it and getting lost into it in the way that humans and other people watching me will. Where you guys will think about lots of different things that tie you to the world and tie you to your relationship, tie you to your connection. I'm looking at all that from the outside looking in, and I always have been. But from my perspective, growing up, I didn't know or realize how I was doing that or what I was doing. And so it took me to go through certain experiences for me to realize that I always was on the outside looking in. It just took me a long time to come to that conclusion and to fully embrace my position and my awareness as for what it is. Because I felt like as well, a lot of the time, I wanted to be a part of a lot of the things that humans were a part of. And I was like, certain times I would think to myself, why can't I experience some of the things that a lot of other people get to experience? And don't get me wrong, I can experience those. But I notice with a lot of other people that be experiencing that stuff, it's actually heavily tied to the fact that you humans and you people out in the world, you just love to accept other people's bullshit, and you don't actually like to, how do I say? You don't actually like to grow and evolve in the ways that you try to say or portray that you do. Because a lot of people like to say that they're all about growth and evolution and blah, blah, blah. But when push comes to shove, that is not the case. Because if it was the case, you would do so. Because I do so. I do as best as I can. And when I didn't do it, that's because I wasn't actually genuinely wanting that. I really deep down, what I wanted was an easy way out, a shortcut, a way to just get my fix, to get my sense of peace without actually putting in any effort to actually obtain that peace, and so on and so forth. So that's why I know I can see right through everyone's bullshit. I can see right through everyone's lies that they try to convince themselves as humans, thinking that, like they actually want something, but they're not actually getting it or going to get it in the world. Because if you want something, no matter what happens, you're going to go get that thing, regardless. So if you're out in the world and you feel like you want something and you feel like you can't get it in some way, shape or form, you don't actually want that. You want something else that you're trying to convince yourself and give yourself the illusion that you want that specific thing. But that's just your like kind of cover story. That's like your beard in a sense. So your beard is like trying to be like, oh no, yeah, I want this. But in actuality, honey, look at your reality. So when it comes to, that kind of stuff, I realized that a lot of the stuff that I wanted, it came to people, or it was granted and gifted to a lot of people because they just accepted other people's bullshit. Because you guys love to kind of embrace and accept and like kind of brush shit under the rug type of stuff. So that's why I noticed like a lot of certain things that I wanted to experience in my life, I couldn't actually experience because I'm not the type of person to brush stuff under the rug. I'm not the type of person to just accept people's bullshit and let it slide. And a lot of people will look at you and kind of give you the side eye if you're that kind of individual. But that's just because everybody in the world is in that demonic energy where they just love to accept people's bullshit and let things slide, brush shit under the rug, So then it comes like a kind of weird thing where if you don't accept people's bullshit, you're looked at as weird. But who said that I should accept other people's bullshit? You know what I mean? Like, that's bullshit for a reason. Like, fair enough if it was like, I don't know, flower shit, something pretty, something nice, but it's bullshit. So why would I want to accept someone else's bullshit just for the sake of relating or just for the sake of a relationship or relatability? No. I started to come to the conclusion that I was actually genuinely in the right place mentally. But sometimes the way that you go about it, sometimes the way that you act when you're trying to call people out on their bullshit, that's what actually comes out and turns out to be wrong. Because you can still call people out on their bullshit, and it doesn't have to be any bridge burning or tit for tat or arguing and going throat to throat, neck to neck, like all that kind of energy. Doesn't actually have to be like that. But in the past, I'd felt like it had to, because I was like, bitch, like, ride or die, like, but people on this planet, people on this earth, they are not about that ride or die. They're about getting that money and leaving you to die. That's really what people are about on this fucking earth. They want to get that money and leave you in the dust. So, you know, I choose to do things that I want to do the way I want to do it. But, you know, if people want to play that game, in certain situations, I might need to do as needed. I'm not going to do what y'all do, though. I'm not going to sit there and stoop to you guys' level, but I will do what's needed for me to get where I need to get and what I need to get in the world, and not in the same way that you guys do, where you guys step on each other's necks, you know, use each other's weaknesses against each other and all that kind of bullshit. Because a lot of people do that and don't even think about it, don't even realize it. And that's why a lot of people who sit there and they think to themselves, oh, I can't imagine how someone could do such a horrible thing to someone, like, let's say, manipulate or lie. That's because you actually don't have that much self-awareness. Otherwise you would know, because I know why people would manipulate and why people would lie. I have the self-awareness to know how I would lie and how I would manipulate. You know what I mean? So I know how you can even fall down and go down that path accidentally without actually realizing it. Or maybe you did it on purpose and you did realize it. But either way, I already know because I have the self-awareness. So that's why I say your self-awareness is pretty low if you're not able to see why people would manipulate and why people would use in certain ways in certain aspects of the world. So that's one way of looking at it, one way of seeing why a lot of people can't figure out people, because you can't figure out yourself. You don't know yourself. That's why you can't figure out anyone around you, or you can't understand the world around you, and you can't relate to the world around you. I can relate real easy, even all the way down to the bullshit that I just talked about. You know, the reason why I'm even aware of that is because I'm able to meet myself in that area. I'm able to see how even I could stoop to those certain levels. Even I could fall victim to a lot of the things that I hate and I would hate to see in the world. And I would hate to have other people put onto me, you know? So all of that plays in. So that's why I say, the less you know yourself, the less you actually know the people around you. And that's why the people around you sometimes seem elusive or mysterious and stuff like that. Or even just people in general and humanity as a whole, because you don't actually know yourself. So that's a little bit distracting for me doing that weaving, because I have to sit there and like keep it still, but I'm going to get some clips in a second. But yeah, you don't actually know yourself as much as well as you feel like you do know yourself. Okay, so what is going on with my stream on Twitch? That is so crack up. So yeah, when it comes to, oh yeah, we good. It's funny, I got a viewer on Twitch. I keep getting these viewers on Twitch. I wonder if it's someone I know or if it's just a random. So when it comes to all this relatability energy, right? And this made me realize why I felt like I can't relate to the world a lot when I go into the world and I try to experience things in a way that a lot of humans experience things. Oh shit, sorry about that, guys. In a way that a lot of humans experience things. It's like I can't necessarily experience it in the same way that a lot of human people experience it, because I'm not in a human space. I'm not in a human mind state for me to do the certain actions and think in the certain ways that a lot of humans want to think and act in. So that leads me to a lot of the time feeling separate or feeling like an outsider, but it's really actually me being more connected and being more of an insider when it comes to the spiritual or the esoteric side of things. And so if you are anything like how I'm talking about now, and where you don't accept, or you know, you don't just like let people's bullshit slide, then like me being here to tell you, as like looking back on my past, you shouldn't necessarily let that shit slide in the first place. Obviously, have some self-awareness, have some shadow work, realize where you may be wrong and how you may be coming across in a negative way, but also remember that your opinion is valid and that you shouldn't just bend and mold your values and your principles because everyone around you isn't willing to accept those principles or those values. No. You accept what you want to accept. You uphold what you want to uphold. Don't ever let someone shift you into another personality or paradigm where now you're saying or going and doing and being something that is not actually in alignment with who you personally want to be. You know what I mean? So when it comes to all this relatability stuff, you should relate to the stuff that relates to you. You shouldn't bend yourself and be relatable to other people's form of relatability because that's their form of relatability. If they want to go out and relate with people like that, by all means, but you shouldn't suffer and put your relatability on the back burner just because other people aren't willing to accept or embrace or become a part of whatever you like to relate to. No, you just go off and do your merry thing, go relate to what you want to relate to. If they're really for you and if they're really a part of your life in that way that actually benefits you, they will relate to what you're doing. And that brings me to my other part of this topic as well. If people aren't relating to what you're doing, that's pretty clear sign about where their mind is at, because I would support anybody who I genuinely love. I don't give a shit, so let's say you have a purpose and a passion and you're really going for something. You probably know this too. Like if it's your best friend or whoever, you would probably be the type, or maybe you're not the type to like every video, but you would support anything that you know that they're passionate about, right? So take that and apply that to anyone in your life. Generally, there is a small exception when it comes to certain people who are heavily indoctrinated, because you may be here to give them a real wake-up call on how indoctrinated they are, just based on your actions. But as a majority of the time, when it comes to the people that you relate to, if they know that you're passionate about something and you've got a passion and a purpose, but yet they don't take any effort or steps to actually support that passion, they don't actually take any steps to kind of show you that they're there for you and that they could help you with that passion in some way, shape or form, then take it for what it is. They don't support your passion, and whether you want to get your knickers in a twist and get upset about that, that's up to you. That's your prerogative. But I would advise you not to, because why would you react to other people's bullshit? If they want to relate and support what you got going on, then let them. It's not like you're going to go and support what they have going on, or when push comes to shove and your thing actually starts to kick off and you start to become successful, who didn't relate or who didn't support you. So it's really nothing to get upset over because you are on a path of success anyway. So whether they want to come and accompany you on your path to success, that's their loss. You know what I mean? So I don't give a fuck when it comes to those kind of energies. It can be frustrating because, a lot of the people, especially if you actually genuinely have a purpose and a passion, you'll notice a lot when you actually start to go for it. Majority of the people who you thought were there for you and so thought you supported, those are actually the first people to throw you under the bus. Those are the first people to talk shit about you behind your back. Those are the first people who won't share your video online. Those are the first people who won't buy your fucking product on your website. So, take it for what it is. But at the end of the day, just giving you a pre-warning as well, if you don't have a purpose, you don't have a passion, a lot of the people who you thought were there for you and thought would be there for you, they were only there for you while you were frowning. But when it came to the situation of you being happy, you flourishing, you pursuing something that you're passionate about, watch those people drop like flies, I swear. And that's okay, you know. It's allowing room for new things and new people, new situations to come into your life. And you didn't need those people anyway. They were actually going to hold you back, I can guarantee. So whoever, if they're not along for the ride, even just in general, like I noticed this as well, like with a lot of people who I was really close to, but then the more I would get into this energy of focusing on myself, doing my shadow work, focusing on my passions, doing my creativity, I noticed a lot of the people who weren't in alignment with that, they would naturally go away from me. They wouldn't even feel drawn to come into my space. So that's another sign as well for anybody, you know, like pay attention to who's actually in your space and what mental space you're in, because these are all tied in. So if you're in a certain mental space that you know is good for you, but you notice while you're in that mental space, a lot of the people who you were close to, they start to drift off and go and do their own thing. Take that as a sign, especially if it constantly happens. First time, you know, you can give people grace. Second time, you could probably give them grace a little bit again. Third, fourth, okay, you're pushing it at that point, you know. That's a sign. Those are people that are not actually genuinely in alignment with your path and your purpose. And every time you are in alignment with your path and your purpose, they drift away because they can't come with that energy. Because you're in a completely different energy. You're not even in the same space as them. So, you know, your bodies will play out that energy as you do that anyway. Siaki. Siaki. Bruh. Anyways, don't mind that, guys. So yeah, when it comes to that, so threw me off. It was so loud. Um, yeah, when it comes to that energy, you know, those take that as a sign. Those people probably ain't in your space because they don't have any business being in your space. Especially if you're about your business and you're about your passion, they're about your purpose. Oh, they definitely don't have any business being in your space. I'm telling you right now. Siaki! 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 Sorry, I cannot stand that noise. I don't mind any other noise. I don't mind yelling. I don't mind talking. But that noise right there, I will not let that stand. That is not pleasing to the ears. So, when it comes to freaking, what's it called? One second, guys. Yucky. Can you please be quiet? Can you please be quiet? Okay. Now that I've got that noise out. My gosh. That was not good. So yeah. The more you're in alignment with your purpose, the more you'll start to attract the things that's in alignment with that purpose. This is why you even connect with other people in the world where you will be literally able to relate on so many different levels. And you'll even, like, especially the people that are really close to you or you really connect with. And then you notice the people that you connect with more, they actually have more in common with you. This is because you're in that space mentally. So the next time you change, you're going to have more in common with the next person that's in that space. So this is all a form of manifestation. And law of attraction. But all of that shit is just like modern new age terms to explain what's happening on a daily basis. Whether you want to accept it or not, the facts are there. Your reality shows you every single day. So are you going to be blind, or are you just going to and you're just going to go about your life and be blasé about everything? Or are you going to pay attention to actually what's going on and the mechanism that's in front of you? Because we're constantly manifesting based on our mental space. Anyways, that low-key got me a little bit annoyed, because a lot of people just be so lost into that bullshit, me myself included, back in the past. Why I even get so freaking heated about that, but who gives a shit at the end of the day? Because that's my shadow work that I need to do. Focus on myself, you know, like, do me. And I want to do this as well, like, bruh, nothing to Mystar, because you can't even see that, bruh. Be better if it was on this side, yeah. It just makes me annoyed when I see that, like, partially covered type bullshit. So yeah, when it comes to those kind of people, they're not in your space for a reason. You know, they're in your space for a reason. This is why you even connect with them. If you were to connect with that other person that's in the corner, you know, it's not as likely that that person's going to be in the same space as you. So that's why I like leave people where they are. You know, I don't like to chase. I don't like to go after people. If you are in that certain space and in that certain area, there's a good reason. And I'll listen to my guides. I'll listen to my tupuna and the spirits that's around me that tell me what the heck is going on. Otherwise, I would be up here talking smack, talking my shit, and it being so freaking true. You can't even debunk any of the stuff I say, because I got so many layers. Even if you were to bring a little argument, I already got an argument against that, you know. So I don't really care about coming across as like a know-it-all or like an ego, because I do know pretty much the majority of shit. Like, I'm willing to tell you, like, at the end of the day, I know that there's stuff that I might not know, you know, in life. But in terms of life and the mechanism of life that's going on, I can pretty accurately tell what's going on, because the mechanism is simple. If you guys, if any person in that's watching and doesn't know what type of mechanism I'm talking about, if you were to figure out what the mechanism I'm talking about is, you'll be like, damn, like, how did I not see that? Like, that is so stupid of me to not be able to see something that's so clear, so plain in front of your eyes, so blasé. Like, it's actually stupidity. And this is why a lot of people even say, like, humanity is like becoming more and more stupid. It's because of the way that everything is run, the way you guys think, the way you guys feel, the way you guys look at reality, everything. It's all in one. Even the people who's less stupid, like, I'm telling you, you guys even look at reality in a stupid kind of way. It's just you are a lot more spiritually inclined, and so you're in tune with a lot more of the natural energy, which will give you that upper hand to other people who are just completely stupid and not in tune with the natural energies of things. So it's like a silly little world that we're in, you know. It's pretty crazy, but that's all right. It is what it is. I can't sit here and complain. I can only, you know, tell you and explain about what's going on. You know, what's the reality? What's really true? So back into the topic of relatability again. I'm gonna bring this like to more and more points as we go deeper into the video. I don't actually like to write down things so much anymore. I like to have a plan in my head. But in terms of writing is just secondary. Like, I might do it sometimes, I might not do it. But as long as I have that plan, that order, that structure within my mind, bro, I'm like obsessed with this girl here. That structure in my mind, and I'm good to go. You know, I could pretty much flow. And I got an Aries rising, so I can do that kind of on it. More of an impulse than the average Taurus. If you're a Taurus watching this video, I'd not advise you to act as I do. Unless you have like Sagittarius or Aries or a cardinal sign, a lot of cardinal energy in your chart. But if you're just Taurus and you've got a lot of Taurus in your chart, you're more predicated on the energy of being able to prepare, being able to plan ahead, whether that's extreme and strenuous, extensive kind of planning or not. But there's some form of planning and preparation going on. Me, I just do it on a lesser scale because I have a Saggy moon and an Aries rising. So I'm a little bit more spontaneous, a little bit more impulsive, and I can act more on a whim. But I still have to do that planning and that preparation. If I was just Sagittarius, I'd be able to just do it and it'd be cool, you know? But I can't just do that because I'm not just a Sagittarius. I'm a Taurus. As you workers. Ugh. So, when it comes to, again, relatability, a lot of people, they want to relate to the wrong kind of things in their life. They want to relate to the stuff that kind of fulfills their desires. They want to relate to the stuff that kind of makes them feel comfortable and makes them feel safe. And this is why a lot of people just fall victim and fall short to this kind of energy. They won't ever expand or grow because they're stuck into that feminine space of relating, connecting. And this is like where soul ties come from too, where you become so stuck and so tied up in this form and way of relating with something or person or a place or whatever, that you start to blur the lines between you and them. And them. Now the lines are blurred between you and them. And now you're starting to experience more of what they experience. And you'll start to experience as well, like, oh my gosh, like, why am I experiencing this circumstance in my life? Like, this is what this person experiences all the time. Yeah, that's because you become so tied up with that person, that individual, that you have actually started to experience their timeline of events, their manifestations, their energies, because you've spent so much time, energy, and relatability on them. And so this is why it's important to be aware of who you're relating to. Because you're not just relating to that person. You're relating to their circumstances. You're relating to the responsibilities that they have. You're relating to the places that they've been. All of that starts to create a picture of how you guys relate and how your guys' relationship will be. And whether you are aware of that or not, it's happening on a daily basis. So when you click onto this, then you'll start to be able to realize where you can actually cut certain energies out of your life and how to cut certain energies out of your life, and what sources, you know, some of them come from certain sources that you actually need to be spending less and less time with. But because you guys have been through stuff, or, you know, that's a big one for a lot of people, that people have been through stuff, or because you guys have grown up together or whatever it is, you guys feel like kind of obligated, like it wouldn't be right if I was to cut this person out of my life. It wouldn't be right if I was to stop talking to them as much as I do in my life. Actually, a lot of the time, it's the only right thing for you. And it's actually the one thing that's holding you back is this person being in your space constantly and you allowing them to have even the time of day to share in your energy. Because your energy should be considered sacred. And if you don't consider your energy and your space and your time sacred, then this is probably one of the reasons why you constantly experience circumstances that you don't actually like in life. And why you're looking around and you're like, why is everything happening? Why is this happening? Fuck. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? I'm so sorry about the yawning, guys. I'm probably, let me be real, I probably care about it more than you guys do. It pisses me off. I hate that when I get onto the video, I start yawning. Not the goods, not the goods, not the goods. But anyways, yeah, when it comes to these kind of energies, right, you need to look at that kind of stuff as sacred and that kind of stuff as special, and it should be treasured, you know. You shouldn't be just giving away your time and your space and your energy anywhere. I don't give a fuck if they're family. I don't give a fuck if they're your best friend. You know, if you're listening to me right now and you can see that I actually know what the fuck I'm talking about, because you actually have awareness and you actually have two eyeballs on your fucking face, you know, then I don't give a fuck who the fuck they are. If they are not in the right energy and the right space, you need to lessen your time with them. I'm not saying you should cut anyone off. I'm not saying you need to cut anyone off. You need to lessen your time with that person. Lessen your ability to pay attention. Even if, let's say, you can't lessen your time with that person because maybe you guys have a real deep connection. You're like forced to see each other every single day. That might be something that a lot of people are stuck in. Start to separate your thoughts and feelings from that person. Don't even react. Just like completely neutralize. Like in your mind, this person is like, what? You know, like that kind of energy. I don't know if anyone can pick up on that. But if anyone can't pick up on that, I'll explain it deeper detail for people who aren't, inclined like that. Because especially water and fire signs, you guys will be able to see my facial expression right there, and you'll be able to know straight away what I'm talking about. So if you're a Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries, or you're Cancer, Scorpio, or a what's the other one? Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces, you'll be able to know what that facial expression meant. And if you're an Earth sign, any of the signs I didn't mention, this is for you. Basically, what you need to do is you need to just have no thought or feeling about that person. Don't, like, no good feeling, no bad feeling, no good thought, no bad thought. Just completely neutral as possible, as neutral as you can. And that's you spiritually separating from that person. The more you start to do that, you will be able to separate from that person physically, and you won't even have to lift a finger, I bet. They'll ask you to leave. They'll ask you to go. And then you can go and you can know. Deep down, you can say with pride and with happiness, I made this happen because I separated from them mentally. And whether this person believes and thinks to themselves that this whole situation was because they asked me to leave, deep down, you ask them to ask you to leave. And that's when you become a real spiritual practitioner. Well, part of the process. I won't say you are a real spiritual practitioner then. I don't want people to get big heads, because then you would think that you just did one thing, you separated from one person. Now all of a sudden you're some spiritual guru. You're like the greatest spiritual guru on the earth. And no, bitch. Take a seat. Remember where your place is. Don't get too big headed here. Because at the end of the day, you still got a long way to go. Because you're still watching me on YouTube. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you sitting here watching me on YouTube, but just know your place. You know what I mean? You have to know your place. So, when it comes to those kind of energies, the less time you spend with this individual, the less energy you give to that individual, thoughts, feelings wise, actions, communication, relatability, all of that stuff will start to manifest into you lessening your time of experiencing whatever energy this person brings. Let's say you hang around someone and they are like a, what's it called? Let's say you hang around someone and they constantly have I might need to cut this one short. They constantly have dramas in their life. They constantly have they constantly have arguments. Let's say this is a good one because I've experienced this myself. I can say this from a real good experience, real good wisdom, real good knowledge. So let's say someone who argues a lot, right? Hey, thanks. Really needed this in fantastic timing. Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I love that. Thank you for watching. I appreciate that. I love your videos too. So thank you for your videos, and thank you for all that you do in your readings too. So yeah. But that threw me off because I don't normally get comments on my videos. So when I saw the comment, I was like, what the fuck's going on? Hold on, I got a comment. Right, okay. Well, let me get back on track. Okay, so where was I? Damn. Damn. That really threw me off. So when it comes to, let's go back to relatability. Maybe I'll just check on the video. That might help me. That might help me, guys. That might help me. That might help me, guys. No, I can't go back on this one. God damn. I love that it was in perfect timing though. Yeah, that's awesome. That's how you know you're in alignment. You know, me included, eh? When that shit is like just perfectly timed. That's that godly shit right there, you know? That's that all possibilities. No, don't even apologize. You're all goods. You're all goods. That's a good challenge for me to be able to get myself back on track. So fuck. I can't even go back on that video. Oh, we got YouTube. Because I'm streaming on 3 platforms right now. So I got like, I just checked 2 of them and I'm like, I can't even skip back to those ones. I had to go back onto YouTube, which didn't even have open. So fuck. Too big headed there. Because at the end of the day, still got a long way to go. And relatability, all of that stuff will start to manifest into you lessening your time. Oh, yes, yes. Okay, I see. So yeah, I was talking about like lessening your time. And that's funny, you just did the clock emoji too. So all that divine timing shit, I love that. That's so awesome. So yeah, like that will start to manifest to you like lessening your time of experiencing whatever they've experienced. Like reason why I even talk about this as well is because like I'm thinking about a very specific scenario where I experienced like a whole bunch of stuff, and I got this like it was like a huge wave where, like at one point in my life, I didn't experience any of these certain energies. I used to be quite like a stable kind of person because I'm more in that earth energy. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart, so I used to be quite stable. And then I remember I spent like probably 3 years constantly relating to these 2 people in my life. And that's funny because like Empress actually is a name that was relevant to that time in my life. Empress, one of those people actually went by that name, but not the Hanged Empress. I like the Hanged Empress. That's a more unique, you know, that's more, you know, individual. But no, I don't want to call this out. I don't want to call people out on their names, you know, like all respect, all love to those people, especially if you're watching this video right now, you know who you are. But yeah, I started to experience a whole bunch of stuff that they were experiencing. And then I remember noticing that about myself, and I didn't put the 2 and 2 together. I was like, hold on, I'd be experiencing exactly what they're experiencing, but I didn't experience this back before I met them. And so it started to make me like really think, and I was like, hey. And then I actually watched Dolo on YouTube, Dolo the Pilot Man. Shout out to him, freaking greatest YouTuber of slay. So when it comes to him, he was talking about soul ties, like what I was talking about right now, like how when you are in a relationship with someone, you start to develop ties, and you know those ties start to manifest into you experiencing certain things. And so when you're surrounding yourself with people who have more of that energy that you don't want to experience, you'll start to experience. So then I started to put the 2 and 2 together. I was like, hold on, this is why I'm experiencing this. So I started to lessen my time with that person, and I noticed the less I spent, as I was saying, the less time I experienced their timeline of events. And a lot of their timeline of events was a lot of like mental instability, a lot of breaking down, a lot of like heavy, deep emotions. And I'm not an emotional type of person. I don't experience that kind of stuff like very often. I can be emotional, don't get me wrong, but like I'm not necessarily always like that. Like I get my moments, you know, like kind of like waves, I guess you could say. So when it comes to this emotional energy I was experiencing, I was like, nah, definitely I know where this is coming from. And honestly, it's taken me quite a while to shake that energy off, because I spent days, hours of each day constantly relating to these people. And like I went all in, because I'm a Taurus. So when I commit to a connection, a friendship, a relationship, or whatever, I put my all into that shit. Like I put my everything. So when I started to put my everything into that, like I really experienced everything that came with that, all the repercussions, all the experiences. And so that was a real ugly lesson that I went through, and I'd hate for anyone to have to go through something like that, honestly. But that's why I'm here talking on my video, because I like to, if someone else is going through something similar, I can be that little like shining light, or a little bit of something to be able to show them, okay, this is what you're going through, babes. Be aware of it. You can be in denial as much as you want, but at the end of the day, this is happening, and the better that I can explain that, the better you can be aware of that as well. It's like bringing shit down from like the spiritual realm, I guess you could say. But I can't even really say that too much, because personally, like I learned this from someone else, so I feel a little bit like I'm a little bit of a student in this aspect as well. But yeah, I noticed this as well. Like what's it called? Like I can even get to this point where now I'll even go into certain connections and into certain relationships, and the moment I'm even connecting to this person, first I'll see, because if you're spiritually inclined, you already know. First you'll see, okay, this is a certain character that this person is playing out. Okay, I can accurately assume, or I can accurately guess that this is kind of the energy that's going on behind this character and behind closed doors. And then after that, I'll spend a little bit of time with them, let's say like a couple hours, or maybe I might spend half the day with them. And then I'll come back to my house, and I start to experience a whole bunch of thoughts and feelings that it's like comes out like a wave, like oh, now I want KFC, now I want fish and chips, now I want McDonald's. Like, bitch, I don't even eat KFC or McDonald's, because I worked at KFC, and that shit grossed me out. I'm a little bit too much of a germaphobe for fast food, guys. So when I see people who work at KFC, I'll be looking you up and down like I'm a bit judgmental in that way. And if you watch this video and you work at any of these restaurants, you ever see me, know that I'm looking you up and down. I'm paying attention to every little thing. And if you look like you don't wash your hands, if you look like you don't follow the cleanliness at the workplace. I don't know what the word is for it. All those cleanliness kind of stuff at the workplace. Then I'm not gonna buy those chips, baby. I'm not gonna buy that burger. I don't eat bread, but like I'm not gonna buy those stuff, because I just don't want all of that up in my shit. Like I honestly though, I'm going to say this as well. That's the energy that I low-key sometimes question whether I should be relating to that too, because I'm looking into it. I'm like, okay, well, the more you start to pay attention to that, you're going to manifest more of that. So the more I start to pay attention to my germaphobe side, the more I start to realize, actually, I think that may be something I need to separate from a little bit more, because I delve too deep into that world, and then things start to become a little bit scary. And then if you're a germaphobe and you're watching this, you know how scary things can get, because you start to look around now. Now everything has a germ, everything has a bacteria, and now that shit starts to remind me of how the shadow government tries to put like make everyone believe that COVID's flying in the air, and that like it's like an invisible bacteria that's gonna like come down and like infect you and shit. And then I'm like, hold on, all of this bacteria, this fungus, this virus stuff, this is all starting to remind me of all that stuff, like. So then I start to think to myself, this is like a shadow government template that I'm under, like this is some bullshit template that I'm under, and I'm in, where I'm really like, I don't know, I do not fuck with that shit. That's all I do know. So it's starting to make me separate and question that energy in itself, of the whole bacteria, germs, like if I can't see it, Is it really there? That's all like, it's sounding like some native hobbyism shit, because now we're getting into the energy of the unseen and the spirit realm, and like the bacteria. That's a little bit too close to that native hobbyism stuff, where I don't like to go into native hobbyism. I may have feathers in my hair. This is actually my cultural background, as well as Native Americans. Where I'm from, New Zealand, we actually wear feathers as well. So that's a little bit of a, I reckon, connection there spiritually for you to be able to have that in your culture, for you to be wearing feathers within your culture. There's some kind of connection between Maori, aka my culture, my background in New Zealand, and Native American culture. So that's definitely something to be that I've been paying attention to, and I actually do. Stay tuned because I will be going into that into more detail, but I don't want to go too deep into that because I don't want to put my plans out there. Another thing as well, when you're relating to people, this can be quite obvious for some people, but just like watch how you, when you express the way you're expressing your plans or your passions, and how you start to feel when you're around that person and you're expressing those things, because it can be really telling as well. Like, don't get me wrong, always have awareness and self shadow work and go within. Fuck, I don't know what is up right now. I'm getting hot. Like, I don't know if it's like, I feel like this is just like, it doesn't feel like the weather, if that makes sense. It feels like an energetic heat. But anyways, the heat is on me. The heat is on me. You're on fire. So yeah, when it comes to that energy, obviously pay attention, do your own shadow work, and be aware of how you can sort of be putting this on yourself, and you can sort of be creating something to be more than what it really is. But just pay attention to, do you actually feel comfortable after you told that person about the thing that you were passionate about? Or like all those kind of energies. Fuck, guys, I'm getting hot. What the fuck? You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of when I had this spiritual mentor, and she used to send me like healing energy. She used to send me this healing energy, right? And every time she would send me this healing energy, I would get hot, like hot all down my body, like so hot. Like I'd feel like I was in a freaking sauna. And it's funny because I keep thinking about the Hanged Empress. I don't know, you might be like a massive healer, you like big on healing, but your healing energy is like potent. It must be, because I did not feel this till you came into the live. But anyways, that's besides the point. A little bit sidetracked there, a little bit sidetracked. But yeah, when it comes to yeah, the way that people make you feel, and the sort of energy that you get and the vibe you get, because everything's like, we're all receiving and pushing out our thoughts and our feelings. So whether someone says something or not, you pick up on that sense, you pick up on that vibe. I've been so in denial about that shit my whole life. Like, I'm the type of person where I would give people the benefit of the doubt a lot of the time, and I would allow myself to get blindsided to a lot of that stuff. And so I would be like, oh no, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I need to do my shadow work. Maybe I just need to look within. But like, if you're spiritual and you do your shadow work every day, there's barely any time or any chance for you to be falling victim to that shit. Especially if you've been working at it for a while, you do your shadow work quite often. You know what I mean? It's a pretty rare occurrence that it's you and you having to look within and do your shadow work, but still, obviously, you're mindful of that in general, especially if you're, constantly genuinely doing that, because a lot of people will be fake into this shit. A lot of people will be fake into the whole spiritual side of things, and they're like, yeah, I do shadow work, yeah, I do healing, and then like you spend like a couple of days with them, and then you start to realize like they are not like that. They don't do that. Like, they might say it, but they don't do it. It was a real hard thing for me to come to the realization of, because I, like I said, put people up on a pedestal a lot of the time. I view people as, I see the good in people, and that's probably partly due to the fact that, everything's a reflection. So if I'm seeing the good in people, oh, there must be something fucking good in me, But I see the good in people. And so that allowed me to let a lot of their negative slight and uphold this false image, this false Luciferian light of them, where I was able to live in this fantasy reality. And funny as well, because my aspect of the world in New Zealand, where we're from, this is actually the Capricorn, Aquarius, and the Pisces aspect of the world. And they even have a movie in New Zealand. They call it not Once Were Warriors, what the fuck? They call it Boy. And in the movie, the dad is part of a gang called the Crazy Horses. And I actually found out recently that the Crazy Horses, in Native American culture, from Dollar to Parliament, shout out to him again. I don't know, maybe I should stop shouting out. But anyways, the Crazy Horses actually represents the Pisces constellation, I'm pretty sure. And Pisces, if you know anything about Pisces, that's all about La La Land, all about illusions, delusions, so I'm playing out the character of my landmass, because where we're from, that's also like part of that Pisces kind of hemisphere, or Aquarius into Pisces kind of area. It gets real cold in New Zealand, like real cold. And a lot of people, even when I'm in New Zealand, I see it in the atmosphere, in the space. A lot of people, it's like a delusion and like a dream reality that a lot of people are in. So me, growing up in that mental state, being from that geographical location, I had those characteristics, being in that delusion, being in that illusion of what I'm seeing in that reality. And that really just changes how I was able to perceive my reality, how I was able to receive everybody around me. And I didn't freaking come around to about like probably a year and a half or maybe 2 years ago, I started to notice how, damn, my awareness is a lot greater than I gave myself credit for. And if you're watching this video, you might be able to resonate in some way, where your awareness is a lot greater than you gave yourself credit for. And you thought that a lot of people had that same awareness or that same perspective and were able to see it from the outside looking in, same way that you are. But then the more you start to share and express your individuality and who you are on the inside, especially if you're an ex-people pleaser, I'm an ex-people pleaser. So the more I started to put myself out there and be less of a people pleaser, the more I started to realize, holy shit, what is this world? What are these mind states? What are these awarenesses that's people's in? Like, this is like this one over here. That's not even an awareness. That's like a cave, like with a hole in it, like, bish. Or this one over here, that's like a big fat sun with like a fucking solar panel wrapped around it. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to explain it in the best way I can, but I just started to realize like a lot of people's awarenesses were very small, is what I'm trying to get at. And it was real troubling for me as a youngin. As a youngin, I'm still young, but it was real troubling for me being coming to that awareness and coming to that conclusion, because it made me realize where I was kind of allowing other people to other children to kind of guide me, and because I saw them in a pedestal, right? So I was allowing children to guide me, and it took the universe, my life, my experiences, to actually show me that I needed to raise myself up and stop letting children raise me up. And that's where a lot of people are in this earth. Like, a lot of people are just children, I've seen it like in small instances where I would see certain people and I would be able to tell, okay, this person's quite a young soul. You can just tell by the certain way that they act, the way they speak, and certain thought patterns that they have. But then I started to notice, hold on, no, this is actually completely like on another scale, where I'm looking at people that I looked at before that I saw as quite wise, quite mature, quite grown up, and then I started to look at them and be like, oh, this is like childish. And so it really flipped my reality on its head, like where like Dolo says, like everything is in reverse in the spiritual realm, so it became like, okay, everything is in reverse in the most truest sense, in the most purest sense, where everything that you think that is how do I say, That's funny actually, because yeah, I pulled a card about this before. It was I pulled this card, and it was the message that I got as well was like what's good is bad and what's bad is good, basically. And I've been getting that the last few days, where a lot of the stuff that I viewed as a good thing was actually more a negative thing, and I'm starting to notice it more and more and more each experience I go through. And like, let's say, like, down to obligations, this is a really good one. I like this one for this video too. When it comes to you feeling obligated to what other people are, to other people around you, that in a way is a soul tie as well, I feel, where you feel like you have to act or be in a certain way, and you've got this certain obligation of, oh my gosh, like, they're my family, I need to do this, otherwise that's not a good family member. A good family member doesn't do this, you know, like, don't get me wrong, there is a fine line between you being a shitty person, you know, and you feeling obligated to do something that you shouldn't necessarily feel obligated to do. Because sometimes I can also sit there and, you know, go compare and contrast between the two, where I'm like, okay, is this because this is actually a bad thing to do? Or is this because this is actually just an expectation that society is putting on me? And if I don't do this expectation, then society will turn around and look at that as a bad thing, you know? So it's a very, you gotta, and this is where like the awareness comes in, where a lot of people don't have that awareness or can't even get to that awareness because they're under so many layers of like shit. Like, shit is the best way I can explain it. Just bullshit. And so it restricts them from being able to see, oh, no, now I'm getting pictures in my mind and images and imaginations of stuff that I don't want to be envisioning. But let's not go to their space, you know, we'll take it back to this space. When it comes to those obligations, I would advise, you know, take this with a grain of salt. You know, it may work for you, it may not work for you, but what's worked for me in my experiences is anytime I get an obligation, anytime I feel obligated or feel like I need to do something that someone else is about to, that someone else. But my words, man, I might need a glass of water. So anytime I feel obligated to do something, I instantly do the opposite of what I'm feeling obligated to do. And that's been a really good thing that's helped me to really like kind of clear shit. I feel like that is a way of me clearing soul ties, one, because when you feel obligated, that's a sign of a soul tie. Because you should feel free as a spirit to be able to express yourself and be able to do and say and be whatever you want to be. So instantly, if you feel obligated, that their mind states, their thoughts and feelings, their space is interlocking with yours, and that's restricting you. Now you're not free. Now you're not able to be and float and fly as a spirit in the way that you really should be flying and floating and being free as a spirit. Because a lot of people in this world, like demonic ass shit, you know, where people really want to be connected, but then it leads to a lot of those obligations and those soul ties and societal expectations and all this other stuff that like is just restricting us, and it's keeping us locked into this bullshit reality and keeping us like solidified like into this like Taurus bar. Bro, my throat. What's going on with my throat, guys? All this bile type of energy, you know, where it's like keeping us locked into this constant stability, consistency, stubborn kind of shit, you know. Now you can't do this because this is this and this is that, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, bitch, like, give me some space, give me some freaking freedom to be able to breathe. Like, we really need to give people that freedom to be able to breathe in life. Otherwise, like how are we ever going to be able to expand and be free as spirits? Like, if we're not allowing that and giving that and allowing that for ourselves, you know? So it's like freaking fighting against those obligations can be real challenging, especially if you're ex people pleaser like myself, you know. But the more you start to do that, the more you will realize that a lot of those obligations aren't actually there in the way that you think they are, or won't actually be reacted to in the way that you think they'll be reacted to. If anything, those obligations are more, it's kind of just like I don't know, I look at it like, personally, I look at it like as an initiation. I'm initiating myself spiritually to be able to take myself to the next level of where I need to go. And if I don't go through fighting against that obligation, that's me I failed that initiation. Now I'm not able to take myself to that next level. Next time that initiation comes around, what the heck? My earring's annoying me. Next time that initiation comes around, it's going to be, it's going to be an opportunity for you to be able to do it again. Fuck, guys, it's hot. God damn. I am real good with temperature. That's why I'm really like tripping about this heat, because I'm real good with temperature. My body temperature regulation is boom, bam, shabam. Wish I could photo comment. The Eight of Swords escaped my deck from my read I just did, apparently. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is so relevant to this friggin' video right now. Wait, the Eight of Swords. Oh my gosh. Why did I think that was the Seven of Swords? What the fuck? What am I on? Oh my gosh. You know what? It's the fact that I haven't smoked weed. It's that green. When I smoke green, I'm like... When I don't smoke green, I sometimes like... My left eye be twitching. Sorry, the Eight of Swords. I have to actually refresh my memory on what the Eight of Swords even is, to be honest. When I see it, I know it. When I see it, I know it. Let me look through my deck. We got the deck right here, guys. We got the deck right here. The picture helped me more than the name, I noticed. Anyways, you'll probably say it in the comments. Oh. Right, the binds and that good. And that good. Oh, yes, the binds, yes. Oh, is that what Eight of Swords is? We're binding. Oh, yeah, and because it's 8, we're transforming out of those bindings. So we're cutting those bindings. We're cutting those and letting go, flying above, transforming it, changing it. That's what I think of when I think of 8. All that transformation, 8th house type energy, And then swords, travel, communication. Yeah, that good. Now I'm thinking about that good. Okay, anyways, let me not get worked up at that good. So, yeah, I noticed as well, like, when it comes to that obligation that you push out of, like, it ends up being, like, not even that big of a deal. Like, today, I had to, like, yesterday I had this big one that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm overthinking about this. Like, I feel like I have to do this. Oh my gosh. Then I was like, nah, bitch, you better stand your motherfucking ground. Stand on business. Be a Capricorn hoe. Jump in your Capricorn energy. Like, jump in that Taurus bag, like, don't worry about that bullshit. And so I was like, okay, fight against those negative thoughts. Like, I was real struggling, guys. I was real struggling. So I went back the next day, and I actually apologized, because I felt like that was the right thing to do. I felt like that was the necessary, even though I did fight against that obligation, but I also felt like, to clear the air, I felt like it was necessary to do this apology, right? Ended up doing the apology, and no joke, the reaction of from the apology was completely on the other end of what I thought it was going to be, because I thought in my head, no, if I don't do this obligation, if I don't do this blah blah, and that was a message. That was what I realized, it's a sign as well of when you actually fight against that obligation, or when you cut the ties that's binding, it ends up being less of an experience. And if anything, the experience that you think in your head of what it's going to be, the experience you think it's going to be, if you do cut it, that's actually more in alignment with what it's going to be if you don't cut that thing. So I feel like that's kind of a message or a vision to with our spirit is sending to ourselves, where our spirit is like, this could happen. And sometimes we might interpret it and misinterpret it and be like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen if I do this, or if I don't do this. But actually it's sometimes the opposite. So it's got to have like that spiritual awareness sometimes, or that like foresight, I guess you could say. I'm going to go get a glass of water, so bear with me, guys. My room is not hot. I don't know where to sleep. I actually try to go and sleep. Like a fucking sauna, man. I actually need to go to toilet. I'm gonna be 2 seconds again. Yeah. So actually, that toilet break was great because it gave me something else. It gave me another idea of what I was thinking about. Because I was on the topic of soul ties, and then it made me think of how I post on my Facebook. I think this might be good as well, like for some people, like whatever platform, doesn't really matter. But like with my Facebook, I notice like a lot of the time, because I have a lot of friends, especially randoms, like, or maybe just some people that I'm not like fully connected with. But I notice because I have them on Facebook, I start to feel this energy of, oh, what might they think? Or, these certain obligations, all these thoughts and feelings start to rush in when I think about me posting on Facebook. So I thought, why not? As an easy way for me to kind of cut those ties, like I started streaming on my Facebook, because the more I start to stream on my Facebook, the more those people and those ties and those energies that are binding me at the moment, I can just cut those like all like not one at a time, like kill two birds with one stone type energy, because not only am I sitting here, I'm just speaking my mind, doing my YouTube channel as much as I can, but anybody on Facebook, in my, and because they're more tied to my real life, real life, they're more tied to my real life, right? And so it's allowing me to kind of cut any of those binds with ease, and I don't actually have to try. I don't even look at the comments half the time on Facebook, but if I do, a lot of the time people don't even comment. They just like go off in their merry way, and I bet you I'm willing to bet those are the people who I be thinking, or overthinking about what they might think. And so I instantly go against all of that, like all of it, mate. Like I just fucking destroy it, grab it by the balls and fucking twist. I don't know why I'm speaking like that right now. It's like a bit vulgar. The atmosphere of Australia gets over you. So if you ever come to Australia and you're from any other part of the world, you start to notice the atmosphere. It's like a very, I don't know, it's like a fucking, it's a different vibe, but you love it or you hate it. But I know some people would hear that and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, how vulgar." But those are probably some European bitches. Sounds like some English hoes. No offense to you, European background. I clearly have some European. That is not funny. That is not funny. I don't know why I laughed so hard at that. It made me laugh. It made me laugh so bad. But I'm gonna be real. This camera does not make me look like the way I actually look in life. I actually have a more of a golden complexion on my skin. But for some reason the camera makes me look real whitewashed. The shadow government they put on the cameras, like anybody who's mixed and they have like a little slight golden complexion, you got to make them look whitewashed. I don't know. It's like I swear they do that on purpose. But anyways, Bro, I don't know why that made me crack up so bad. And it's okay to laugh at your own jokes. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you're full of yourself for laughing at your own jokes. But you're funny. If you're funny, you're funny. And plus, they're your jokes. Why wouldn't you laugh at them? What the fuck? Like, that's what I find funny about a lot of people as well. It's like a little bit of a sidetrack moment, but I noticed a lot of people, they find it weird. Like, weird shit is like actually normal. Like, I don't know what people find. Like, a lot of the stuff that I found real normal, and then I would grow up and I'd be like, people find that weird. People find that out of the ordinary. Like, one of them is like real simple, basic shit, like talking to yourself, or, laughing at your own jokes, or like other stuff that's kind of along those lines. Like, it's actually a lot more normal. If anything, I'd say you're probably more in a healthy mental space if you're laughing at your own jokes, or if you're talking to yourself. Maybe not talking to yourself. That can go both ways. We've if you're from a I can't even say hood, because the hoods over here where we're from in our part of the world, it's not the same. People like to say in New Zealand and Australia they have a hood, but the hood in Australia and New Zealand, if you look at the hoods like in other countries, especially like America, that is a hood. When it comes to Australia and New Zealand, that looks like the suburbs. Their hood looks like the suburbs. Like, so clear, we need to make a clear distinction when I'm talking about the hood for anybody. I feel like that was necessary to say, because some people, especially if you're from Australia and New Zealand, you like to think that it's a hood. It has hood qualities, and I won't say completely that it's not a hood, because if you look at the suburbs in these parts of the world, definitely hood adjacent, but you gotta, separate things as well. That threw me off my topic. I had a point on why I was saying that. Let me go back. This is not cool. I don't like to go back, but it's alright. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Can't be getting your knickers in a twist. Let me go back. On purpose. But anyways. Bro, I don't know why that made me crack on so. Okay, we get it. And it's okay to laugh at your own funny like moment, but I noticed a lot of people like real simple basic shit, other stuff that probably more in a healthy mental space if you're laughing at your own jokes. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I wasn't even that big of a point. Honestly, I could have just moved on to another point. Bruh. Anyways, what I was gonna say was, like, just being mindful. If you're from the hood, there's certain people that be talking to themselves, and that ain't healthy. Like I've seen my fair share of people who talk to themselves, and that shit ain't healthy. So I don't want to get people like lost. Like some people, like I know some people, they would watch my video, and they'll be like, oh yeah, so if I talk to myself, that means I'm mentally healthy. Then they go do like that hood kind of talking to themselves, or like that one that we see, like that's not so healthy, and then they start to think that's healthy. Because then now I've got blood on my hands, and oh my gosh, like I don't want all that. I don't want all that. So yeah, back to the thing that I was talking about. What I was trying to say was, yeah, about that Facebook thing I think I was talking about, and then the whole soul ties. So yeah, that's like a way you can kind of cut soul ties quite easily, like online. That's why I love online. It's a very good tool for me to be able to cut off certain things that I know um aren't benefiting me, and that I know aren't gonna kind of help me. And like, shout out to you guys on Facebook. If this is you and you resonate with this, and you feel like you might be one of the people that's like in that soul tie where you kind of have this thought against maybe what I'm doing, and maybe you don't like certain things that I'm doing. Shout out to you. Like, this is probably your sign. You can go ahead and delete me, or you can like do whatever you want, but like, I'm just doing what I do and trying to organize my path and my energy and shit like that, and do what I gotta do. But yeah, I'm trying to think, do I have anything else that I want to talk about in terms of relatability, guys? Relatability. The number 2, that feminine energy, that going within, that developing that certain emotion and feeling about something, you know, and that all of that good shit. I think honestly, I think I pretty much covered everything that I would want to cover in terms of this whole video that I did. I'm gonna just sit here, have a moment, because I do be overthinking, you know, I'll be sitting there and I'm like, oh no, you gotta hurry up and end the video. No, I feel like this energy right now, you need to take that time, have that moment, have that thought, do that live, like, you know, kind of pondering kind of energy, and then end the video based on that. Because I'll be rushing, I jump too much into that like rush energy at the end of the video, like, oh, you gotta make sure. You don't want to look unorganized. You don't want to blah, blah, blah. None of that shit even matters at the end of the day, because it's all crafted, you know, like, and I don't want to craft that shit. I want to be, you know, I want to be in that space and be in more of that space of no think. And so I guess that kind of is a form of me relating to something that's crafted and artificial in a way, where now I'm trying to see something in a way where before, you know, what the fuck words, man. Now I'm trying to see something as authentic, because I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to look like I'm unorganized, but without realizing that takes thought, that takes feeling. Shit, that when you're just being, you know, you don't have to think, you don't have to feel, you just be, you know what I mean? So there's no point in me sitting there and like thinking and feeling all this and that and this and that. No, I just need to be and be free. So yeah, I just take that time. Like I was saying, sorry guys, that's a fact. My freaking Gemini Mercury tangents. As you can tell, I got heavy Gemini in my chart. So yeah, I think that's about it. Like, just this one thing came to my head as well. I'm pretty sure I already covered it in the video, but I was talking about earlier in the video about how, especially like with certain things in our life, like where we feel like obligated because we've shared a certain amount of experiences, or we're in a deep relationship or a deep connection, like how I was saying. And I was like, I don't give a fuck if it's your family type of thing, because like really it becomes so important for you to really preserve and really protect your energy. And like family and all that stuff, it really should not come second. Like, don't, I'm not saying that things like that should come second, but you need to kind of set your priorities in an area where, funny, I'm talking about values and priorities, Taurus energy, where your priority is based on what actually resonates and what aligns with your purpose and your path. Because when you start to like prioritize other things, because a lot of what I'm hearing, I'm getting a lot of people might watch this video and be like, but what about everything else in life? What about this? What about love? What about family? What about like, those things are all important to a certain degree, but when it comes to your purpose and your path, when you really have that passion and you're really trying to go for that, a lot of that shit is going to hold you back, you know? So it kind of becomes like the universe kind of showing you, and the universe will show you, like whether you want to accept what I'm saying or not, kind of becomes the universe kind of showing you, you kind of sometimes have to have that moment of choosing between this or that. And it gets hard, but that's why a lot of people won't be able to pursue their purpose, won't be able to pursue their path. I'm pretty sure my last video I was talking about this exact topic too. A lot of people aren't actually ready to pursue their path. A lot of people aren't actually ready to pursue and go with their purpose. And the reason why is because the things that it would actually take for them to actually go after that, most people aren't willing to even give up or sacrifice those things. Most people are not even willing or ready. They will do everything they can to avoid that, everything they can to stay away from doing the things that actually you need to do when you're actually got a purpose and a path actually becomes the only thing you kind of can do when you have a purpose and a path. So that's why I talked about that topic specifically, because I know a lot of people would get frustrated and they would be like, oh my gosh, like why? Fuck, guys. Sorry. Whew. Oh, motherfucking gosh. I just got a whiff of something that I do not like smelling, guys. It's tobacco. I'm an ex-smoker, so that shit is not, doesn't sit with me right, you know, so it does trigger me a little bit, but, you know, I gotta work on my shit, gotta work on my shit. People who smoke tobacco, they don't think about that shit, because they smoke tobacco. Fuck. When I smoked tobacco, I didn't think twice about that shit, you know what I mean? But, breathe, motherfucker. So, yeah, that's basically what I was talking about in my last video. Like, a lot of you people out there would not be willing to actually sacrifice or let go of a lot of the things that it would take, that you would need to sacrifice or let go of for you to pursue your purpose and your path. And that's okay. But just know where you're at, kind of thing, is basically my topic and my point in that video. And I guess the reason why I mentioned it in this video is because, like, it comes back to the whole relatability thing, where a lot of the sacrifices you have to make is due to things that you have to relate to, things that you have to constantly be in relation to in your life. And a lot of people won't, they just want to relate. They just want to be a part of something. They just want to, you know, whatever it is. Like, some people will relate to shit just for the sake of, like, I've seen people, they'll relate to people in the bed, like have sex with people, just because they know that they won't be able to get that person. And then those same people will turn around at you and be like, you have too high standards because you didn't stoop down to the level that they stooped at. But I realized that that is all just them. They actually did that from a space of insecurity. And I'm starting to realize that more and more as I get older, where I looked at, because I bat for the other team, you know, if you can't tell, I've got a little bit of a feminine, zesty nature, you know. I love how I did that. Zesty, you know. Like, put the paw up, put your paws up, Lady Gaga. Shout out to Lady Gaga. And a lot of people in the gay community, a lot of those zesty dudes, they be going after, like, they'll just fuck anything and anything. And this gives a lot of gay people, a lot of the gay community, like a reputation for being promiscuous. But I know, I've come to the conclusion, and I know why a lot of them do it. Because I've been through this, but I haven't actually ever stooped so low as to put my standard like that. Actually, no, let me not say that. Like, I have stooped a little bit low. I did do one thing one time. And it was not pleasing, and it was very traumatizing, and I do regret it, and I did learn my lesson, guys. It was not good, but I did stoop low, and I was desperate. But I didn't stoop so low as a lot of other people I know. But I did jump into that energy, so I can't even say. Anyways, my point was that a lot of people in the gay community will sacrifice their standards or their values or their principles or whatever for the sake of, you know, getting down and dirty in the bed. Because I know a lot of people in the gay community, especially, you know, if you're LGBTQ, all those letters like FBI and CIA and type shit. If you're any of those letters, then you would know that a lot of people in the gay community will suffer from this kind of feeling. Because, like, it's like this. You look out in people in the straight community and you see how many options they have. And then you start to look at the gay community and you see how many options you have within the gay community. It becomes this kind of weird thing in your mind, and you start to compare and contrast between your options and the options that you would have if you weren't gay. And this becomes like this weird thing in your head where now you're weighing up, okay, my standards versus my options. And now it becomes like this weird thing where, okay, now you're feeling like you have to sacrifice your standards because you have less options. And it's just like this whole weird fucking roller coaster ride that a lot of gay people I know go through, and they might not be willing to admit this or even have the awareness to admit this, but that's why I'm here. You know, if you're from the gay community, if you swing the other way, or even if you're not from that, just you could apply this to your life in a way where you feel like you have less options than the average straight person, you know. So I notice a lot of people will sacrifice that, their priorities, their standards, for the fact that they don't have options. And so then they start to just fuck anything and anything that breathes. Then it becomes like this comfort zone for them. So they're like, okay, well, I know that I can get sex as long as I bring down my standards, right down to the ground, and then boom. Now they're in this like kind of cycle of just like fucking anything and everything. And then that's where I like notice a lot of gay people like fall into this like path of being real lost and becoming disconnected from a lot of shit that they were connected to initially, like in terms of who they are and what their passion is and what their purpose is. And then you can see that a lot of those people end up turning up in the clubs, and you can see in their eyes they got that lost look. Not that I go to clubs anymore, but when I did go to gay clubs, I remember there was a predominant, like, there's a stark difference between the straight club and the gay club. At the straight club, you know, people can be lost, but it's not a theme. When you go to the gay club, the theme is lost. I'm telling you right now, like, I can't say it in any other simpler terms. And if you get offended by that, like, let's say you're gay and you go to clubs, oh, baby, I don't know what to say to you. Anyways, that's not my problem. But if you want to chuck it in the comments, you know, I'm happy to, like, I don't know, maybe we can go back and forth, or like, I don't know, not an argument, but like I might be able to educate you a little bit better. But I don't want to like go into that unless it's necessary. So if you're gay and you're in the comments and you know, you feel like you need to say something about that, like, comments are open. I love to hear feedback, guys. I love to hear everything. So even just like any comment, you know, even if it's just like this feedback that I got in the comments, that made my night, honestly. So, but yeah, that's what I wanted to say as well about that whole relatability, where a lot of people sacrifice for the sake of relating, in terms of relating in the bed. I wouldn't even want to do that at that point. I did it once, and I ain't going back. I would rather wait. I'd rather be celibate, you know, holy Mary, wear the scarf around my head, you know, run around in a circle. What the heck? Run around in a circle. Anyways, I was thinking about the 360 and like separating from shit. You know, turn to the left. So when it came to that, I never looked back. I do not. Actually, no, I did look back. But I never looked back after that time that I looked. I'm just cracking up at myself right now, sorry. It's the fact that I said, I never looked back. Oh, actually, I did look back. Oh, no, I never looked back after that. And then the fact that I said it before too, I was like, I didn't do that. And then I went back on it. But hey, at least you know I'm accountable. At least you can say I'm accountable. At least you can say I'm self-aware. And that's on that. So anyways, yeah, when it came to all that stuff, my point to say was that, yeah, a lot of people will literally sacrifice their own values, their own principles, their own morals for the sake of being relatable, for the sake of relating to people. And that's where I noticed the disconnect between me and the world. And it became very apparent in the past probably 6 months of my life. It became very apparent where the disconnect was. And I thank the universe. I thank all possibilities. I thank life for showing me the truth. Because without it, I would be still trying to figure out why I can't relate to the world. Why can't I relate to people the way that they're relating? Why can't I be in the part of all this shit? Why can't I be in this? You know, like, and then I realized, oh my gosh, it's because I don't give up my values. I don't give up my morals. I don't sacrifice my principles. I don't give that shit up. And that made me realize. So yeah, anyways, that was a bit dramatic. I think I was overdoing it there, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really wanted to drive that point home though, because that was kind of my whole thing of why I even made this video. I really wanted to kind of share that perspective, because fuck, it was so much for me to be able to come to that realization. And if anyone else can hear this video and be like, oh my gosh, I get it, I see what you're saying, I know what I'm looking at it, then, you know, like, I can be a little bit like, and then I can feel like I'm a part of something. I can relate to people. Which sounds like I'm lonely. Sounds like I'm real lonely. Alright, anyways. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day, time, wherever you are, and peace. Witty witty. Search it up. Pukana. This was beautiful. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your feedback. Appreciate